Hello and welcome to the Q. I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and we're happy to have you here. Joining with us today is Judge Lina Hidalgo. She's been named as one of our Houston legends. We're so very proud of her leadership. She is serving as our county judge of Harris County and has been very engaged. As a matter of fact, day one of becoming elected, she was out at our gala, which seems like so long ago, but it really wasn't. But she was there and was able to meet our board of directors and members of our community. And we continue our engagement in a variety of capacities. We're happy to have her here today to tell us a little bit about herself and her personal story. Welcome, Judge.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, how exciting this must be for you, for your family, I know for Harris County, for a lot of people who are out there who are thinking about politics and just jumping right in, which is exactly what you did after having a stellar educational background and engagement in our community. And today our hope is to get to know the person just a little bit better. So, Judge Hidalgo, again, our thanks on behalf of the Chamber. Congratulations for being one of our Houston legends.
Thank you so much. And Dr. Murillo, I do want to start by explaining the job. Yeah. So, the county judge, right, is not a judge, but it's an executive position that helps control the budget for Harris County. And of course, you know this, but I get this question a lot. So, the county budget for this fiscal year, over $5 billion. And it deals with everything from roads and bridges to flood control to our public hospital system, our port. I mean, we support and appoint that board, but, many aspects of what affects lives in Harris County. And so that's what this position is about.
It's a very big job, a very important one. And we know that it comes with a lot of opportunities to change lives, to impact what Harris County will look like, responding to emergencies. We saw you immediately respond with the team with various explosions that we've had. And so being ready for anything that happens in Harris County is part of what you and the team do along with the other commissioners. So we thank you for that service. For people who don't know you, tell them a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up? Where did you go to school? Where did you study?
So I was born in Colombia, in Bogotá, the capital, during the drug war. It was a dangerous time. A bomb went off a few blocks behind our house, and my parents decided, it was better for us to leave. So my dad got a job in Peru. He's an engineer by training, and we ended up in Lima. Then he got another job in Mexico. Eventually, we ended up here, and it was just an incredible change from what I'd seen growing up. I'd always gone to private schools in South America. And when my parents told me I was going to a public school here, I was kind of surprised, And
Where did you go?
So first showed up at Cy Falls, ended up finishing at Seven Lakes. In both cases, it was, a film room, tennis courts, great teachers, more sports programs than I ever had at fancy international schools growing up. And it was so amazing to see that government could provide that, that basic level of an education for folks. And of course, not every public school is great, but I happened to go to some wonderful schools, and that made me really wonder, why is it that government works in some places and sometimes and not in other places and other times? And that really drove my path going forward. So, fast forward to Stanford, I'd studied political science, and I focused very much on that question. How do you build a government that is accountable, that delivers to the community? I studied uprisings. I studied, building an accountable civil service and how it works in certain places and not in others. And that question followed me. It gave me kind of the academic framework to look at the experiences I'd seen growing up when I saw corruption and then I saw government working.
Mm-hmm. So that experience then positioned you as you looked at races here in Harris County and Houston. Was it a strategic move on your part, like county? Did you always realize that or figure that was where you wanted to be? Or was it Houston, or could it have been school board? Was it just a matter of the timing? What all went into that decision for you?
So first of all, I never thought I'd run. So straight after out of college, I went to work in Southeast Asia. I was doing international development work, working on freedom of expression with bloggers, journalists, artists, trying to tackle hate speech, trying to build professional journalism in these developing countries. Yes. And then I'd gone to work on civil rights issues and of pushing from outside the system. Okay. After the 2016 elections, I'm one of the women that decided I could make change from the inside. And the question for me was, where can I have the most impact? I knew that the county had this massive budget. I'd worked around criminal justice, healthcare access in our community and seen the major gaps. You know, folks only being able to access mental health care in the jail, 2 500-year floods in 2 years by then. And I thought, you know, people think of the county as this amorphous force, perhaps roads and bridges, but it has so much more than it can do. You know, the entire justice system is funded, the jail, by the county, the courts, all of that, our juvenile justice system. We must be able to do something. And so I was researching all sorts of positions, and I found this one that seemed to have just flown under the radar. And I stepped up. You know, I had nothing to lose. I was doing my master's in public policy at Harvard. I was studying law. I was sort of had gone back to school thinking I'd go back out and be an advocate and support the folks, you know, pushing for a better system. And then I just decided, you know, sometimes you can have more impact from the inside. And so that's when I decided to run.
Thank you. We'll be right back with more from Judge Lina Hidalgo. And we're back with Judge Lina Hidalgo. She's talking to us a little bit about herself, and we're just so very proud of her and so thankful that she's been very engaged with the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Most recently, she joined us and talked about the budget and the many projects that the Harris County is developing and is working through with over 30 CEOs at the Post Oak Hotel. And we look forward to having her back again, continuing to engage our members and others talking about Harris County. And so let's talk about Harris County, because you're absolutely right. I don't think people understand the magnitude of the impact of Harris County. We often hear city council. You hear that a lot in the media, and sometimes not anymore as much. But I think there was this, and then there's the county, when actually the budget of the county and the footprint of the county is huge. Mm-hmm. Talk to us about that and some of the things that parks and these big different projects that are out there that people may not even be aware of.
So one thing that folks are very much aware of, and you know, wish we didn't have to talk about it, but we always do, is flooding and our flood resilience. And there the county controls the budget for the flood control district. What we're focused on, speeding up the projects. We just invested $60 million to get our drainage projects done in a third of the time, cutting out, you know, 1 or 2 hurricane seasons. So ideally they'll be done in around 3 years. And these are outside of the city of Houston. The county manages the drains that take the water from the streets to our bayous and channels. Within the city of Houston, it's the city that keeps those drains. So that's one aspect. We're working to assess, you know, the bond that passed, the funds we're getting from the federal government. Where is all of that going to get us in terms of our flood resilience? Where do we need to be a place where folks are ready to continue coming, where they're not afraid to leave, where they don't fear that their homes are going to flood, that they might flood every summer. And so that's something we're thinking about very carefully, working with the city on, and really being smart and analyzing. The criminal justice system is another piece. Our bail system at the county was determined so discriminatory as to be unconstitutional by a federal judge. And so in coming in, it was a priority for me to make sure we tackled that, and we did just this past week. We settled that lawsuit and made a system where, you know, folks who don't have money in their wallet aren't in jail simply because they can't pay, and folks who are wealthy don't get out of jail simply because they can pay, regardless of how dangerous they are. So now we look at whether a person is a danger to the community as opposed to whether they're rich or poor. And we're looking at systems, at budgeting. Like you said, the county has been sort of a hidden force. So how do we set up the systems for the community to be watching, for us to make sure that the budget reflects the priorities of the community, that there are metrics, that there are goals, that there are 10 and 20-year plans? Yes. That's where we're starting. But we've got many exciting plans, a 311 system for the county so people can call if they see a pothole, just like they do in the city, call the same number, yes. A housing board, Office of Economic Opportunity, new reforms in the Office of for Veterans Affairs, many incentives. But where we're starting is those 3: is our flood resilience or safety, criminal justice reform, and the systems we need to make our county accountable and a real presence in the community.
Well, one of the things that you did right away was to go out to the community, and you had Civic Saturdays, and I was so impressed with the number of people who were there, the conversations, bringing in a variety of different partners. What did you learn from that?
So we decided we wanted to do an open transition. It was great to have you there. It was just wonderful to have so many voices. So we had 7 town halls throughout the county, and we were wondering, right, will people show up? They don't know what the county is really. Are they interested in sharing their ideas? Hundreds of people at 7 events, 11,000 folks responded to a survey we put out, and it was wonderful to see that willingness to engage. And we discovered that people do want to participate. If we invite them in, they come. It used to be that our commissioners' court meetings were 20 minutes to an hour. Now they last hours, 6, 7, 8 hours, routinely packed with people. And the question for us now is how to harness that, right? How to leverage that engagement, because we don't have all the best ideas. And we know there's room to improve in our community. Things as simple as, when there's a chemical fire like we've had, making sure we can get the monitor done immediately, get the information online, improve on how we do that. That's something that we had an independent gap analysis that just came back to make sure we're doing right by our community. So folks feel safe, so businesses continue to thrive, so folks can do their best in their communities, and we can be an attractive place to live, to raise a family, to work. It's all about a whole community, an innovative community, a competitive community, and one where people feel they can live their best life.
Well, and on that note, one of the things that we like to ask our Houston legends is, what would you like people to remember you by? What work will you do at the county that you'd like to say, this is something that I was part of?
I'm focused a lot on safety and resilience. It breaks my heart when I hear from businesses saying they flooded, they're going to move. I think, flooding obviously is not the first threat, but it's making sure that we are looking out for the safety of our community. I hope it won't be just one thing. I hope it'll be this new relationship between the community and the county. But certainly, I'm very focused on our flood future, how we can be safe and make sure we do that for our community, for our businesses, and for our county.
Well, we thank you. We congratulate you on being named as one of Houston Legends by the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and for your ongoing support of our chamber and for all you do for Harris County. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Murillo, for the work you guys are doing.
Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us here on Houston Legends. I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We'll see you real soon. Thank you.